Here. Next up we've got Ron Avery, who is an architect and number 23 in Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth. And of course, as we're going to hear, they also have now the firemen with it. And if they can get the first responders as the police, because many of those are sick and dying from respiratory things. So it's unbelievable that our media can cover things up. And one thing I'd like to point out, and one of the comedians made the point earlier, if I get shot by a 30-30 or a shotgun, it doesn't matter. It's not so much how I died, but who shot me. Who did it? That's what really counts. So keep that in mind, because the media always wants to run us down a rabbit hole. Ron, you and I have been friends for a long time, and I'm just so glad that you were able to make it. He's got the Silver Eagle Tap House down in McQueenie that is now a meeting place. And there he's got models built of the Twin Towers and Building 7. So if you're ever heading down that way, or if you hear of a meeting that's going on down there, well, I encourage you to go there. He's had some great speakers down there, and we go down there pretty often. So, Ron, come on up and give us one of your things back.
Thank you very much, Randall. It's my pleasure to be here, be with some good folks. Oh, good. They're getting the laptop fixed up so I can do a... I have an 18-hour slideshow with 1,531 slides. But I just, and I still didn't get all the proof that the 9/11...
Need to get the lights down.
I'm sorry?
Need to get the lights down.
Yeah, we need to turn the lights down.
So we got another ugly guy. I'm going to turn the lights down.
Hey. That's all right. I'm wearing a jacket tonight just to prove to architects throughout the country that I do own a jacket. And it took me about 20 years to buy one. But anyway, I do have one. I'm going to take it off a little later. My slideshow, I like what he said. It's not how it was done, it was who did it. My slideshow goes a little further. What you're going to do about it. We can talk about this till Jesus gets back. No, projector's off. It's not plugged in probably because it's all been unplugged.
Projector's off. I don't know.
Projector's not running. We have to get a technician here from the building. I don't guess y'all knew that I knew Einstein. He's going to speak a little later on relativity and how the buildings fell down. No, I tell you what, we had dinner just next door, and I yelled at the restaurant, and they bought it. They really thought I was with Einstein.
Every once in a while, I'll have a good-looking girl come up to me and say, "I want a picture of you." So we go off to the side, and it's her boyfriend taking a picture of him. She said, "Thank you, Albert."
Hell, I'm going to grow my hair out too, man. Whoa! That's right. Oh, I was really teasing. I cut my 18-hour slideshow down to, I think, about 40 slides. But if you do want to see 2 hours, and they mentioned my models. I have a model of the entire World Trade Center at 1 inch equals 30 feet. It's an impressive model.
Projector. Projector. It's coming.
Okay. The background of the slideshow is just one view of the World Trade Center looking down. And I also have a model of the interior and exterior of the main section of the Pentagon, proving once again, that's a total hoax. So, anyway, I cut it down to 40 slides, but if you want to see 2 hours of a lot of the main information, proving that 9/11 is an inside job, is available online, by the way, on YouTube. Type in 9/11 Undeniable Conspiracy. And if you just want to buy the video tonight, I have 38 copies. I'm selling them at $10 a whack. I used to sell them online for 20, so, and then you had to get the shipping, $23. So buy them here, $10. I have 38 copies if you want. Anyway, are we ready?
Yeah, Ron,
Okay, super.
either way, we gotta know.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
Now I'm going to take the jacket. The other reason for the jacket is to cover my stomach a little bit. I've had some kind of a problem ever since I turned 35. But you know, you're not supposed to like girls either after a while. That hadn't left yet. I don't know. Can't do much with them, but I like to look at them. You know? Okay. Oh, yeah, here we go. I know that some of the viewers tonight, after that comedy section we had, are going to be shocked because they probably were watching to find out the real truth behind the deal, behind 9/11. And some people, even here, are probably going to be looking for an in-depth probe into the 9/11 facts. I don't think we should dignify our government any longer with trying to come up with sufficient evidence that would cause them to investigate that. We're way beyond that. We're 14 years after it happened. We found nanothermite. If you know what that is, you probably know all you need to know about 9/11. Man, that is DNA. And that means those 19 hijacker story is a total fraud.
Yeah.
Why would 19 hijackers wire whole buildings, three buildings with nanothermite and bother to go hijack a damn jet? That's stupid, man. I just say, hell, let's blow it up. And they won't even know what the hell happened. That's prettier than any of that. No, the jets, folks, come on. The jets were there to make you look at somebody else. But anyway, let's start it up. Here we go. Notice the name of it. This isn't a terror attack, terrorist attack. This is a tyranny attack. That's me. That's where we're at. That's the date. Clarification notice, due to honest mistakes of others advertising this event. I am, in fact, Ronald Franklin Avery. I am a licensed architect and interior designer in the state of Texas. I am the 23rd signer of the Architects and Engineers petition for a new investigation of the demolition of the World Trade Center. And now there are 2,351 signers. I know and admire Richard Gage, and he and I have made joint presentations here at the University of Texas, and in fact right here, and at the Tap House where I have my bar. However, I am not a corporate member of AE 9/11 Truth. I am not a spokesperson for AE 9/11 Truth. And in fact, I've been in trouble a couple of times with them for this. But anyway, so I want to clarify that. I am not a member of AE 9/11 Truth. I do not represent AE 9/11 Truth. I generally like the work of AE 9/11 Truth, and I buy their stuff. Outline for tonight. Magic and humor. I think we've had a little taste of the humor and even some of the magic. The investigation, folks, is over, like it or not, and in fact it never started. Investigator, one of the main ones that found out really who did do it, he had to flee the country. State of the Union, that's where we're going to cover. What now? Okay, now we know all about it. What you gonna do? Magic and humor. Who in here has never heard of super nanothermite? 1, 2, 3. Hey,
Don't know what it is.
never heard of it. I said never heard of super nanothermite. How many? Let's have another show of hands. Never heard of super nanothermite. 1, 2, 3, 4. You kidding me? I know you. You've heard of super nanothermite. Don't pull my leg off. Okay. Okay. About 5 in the room. Okay. So maybe unfortunately, you're not going to learn much about it from me tonight. Therefore, I will not bore you. I think the overall majority here has heard most all of anything I could put on a slideshow. Therefore, I will not bore you with another one of these long deals of the plethora of evidence to disprove the Washington, D.C. mainstream media conspiracy theory. But I will present sufficient evidence in a way that you're supposed to process it. It is ridiculous for us to treat this tyrannous act as if the government gave a flying crap. We should not dignify them by pretending they're going to investigate if we come up with the big deal. I don't think you could get them to investigate it if you had a signed confession from George Bush and all those guys up there. They're the doers. They ain't going to investigate that. Humor of facts versus opinions. Boy, isn't that what we're really up against? This is what happens to me when I talk to people. Did you know super nanothermite was discovered in all the dust samples taken at the World Trade Center? What's that? It's a new steel cutting incendiary developed in 2000 at Los Alamos and Lawrence Livermore U.S. military labs. 19 hijackers could not wire that World Trade Center with that and pull it and put it in all the dust samples. Well, sir, you are entitled to your opinion, but I think America is the greatest nation on earth. You just go to hell. Now, doesn't that sound like your regular argument when you have to talk to people? Yeah. Analyze that for you. I call these people to be nice. I could call them ignorant, other things, but I call them the newly informed because it takes a while for this stuff to set in. The newly informed sense immediately that they are no longer entitled to their opinion about what happened at the World Trade Center and how it happened. The newly informed want to maintain their right to believe what they want, and they sense the only way to maintain such a right is to support the right of the informed to believe what they want. So the newly informed attempt to change your fact of the informed into an opinion. So the fact that we found nanothermite in all the dust samples is just our opinion, and you can believe that if you want to. That's fine. You can believe that our wonderful government really could do something like that to us. If you want to believe that, okay, but not me. But the informed didn't tell the newly informed an opinion. The informed had a fact which destroyed all rights to a false opinion. And that's a fact. The reaction of the newly informed proves they know what that fact really means, even if they deny it and try to cling to their false opinion. The newly informed are really never the same, even if they act unchanged. Keep telling them the facts. Okay, why do they really reject facts and hold false opinions? Pretty easy. Opinion good. No change needed. Call my congressman. Socially acceptable. Constant reinforcement of encouragement. Have one with government. Send the troops. Da-da-da. Facts bad. Habits don't work anymore. Don't know what to do. Don't know who to trust. Could lose friends. could lose job, could lose family. A lot of the researchers have. Could be arrested, or worse, who you gonna call? How the conspirators want you to process facts discovered about 9/11. All the facts must support the assertion that there were only 19 cave-dwelling radical Islamo-fascist Muslim terrorists that brought America to its knees on 9/11/01. How folks are required to think of 9/11. Now I'm going to read you an email that I received from an angry patriot. It's signed Mad as Hell. Now give me a minute here to find it. I'll turn on the little light. I'm going to try to read this with feeling so I can get the point across. It's called Give the Feds a Damn Break. You know we are just too damn critical of government these days when it comes to dealing with terrorists. Just think about it. 1. How would you like to try to capture Muslim terrorists that are able to board a B-757 passenger jet and hijack it and crash it into the ground and clean up all those jet parts and leave no evidence at the crash site? Yeah, that happened at Shanksville. Can you imagine that? I mean, that's good. They never found anything there. Even the mayor confirmed that. Not a damn thing. What happened to let's roll? I think it's more like let's clean up. 2, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking they just got lucky that time. Oh, hell no. They didn't do that just once. They boarded and hijacked another 757 and crashed that right into the Pentagon and cleaned that up too. Even while the firemen were putting out the fire and nobody saw them. And they left nothing to be found at the very heart of our defense system. I mean, damn. That's good. Is that lucky? No, that's damn good. You got a SEAL team that can do that? Think the Green Berets and the Rangers can do that? But it don't stop there. No, sir. These Muslim terrorists then hijacked two B-767s and crashed one of them into both of the Twin Towers. Most hijackers would be finished at that point, but not these guys, hell no. These Muslim hijackers actually escaped the damned inferno and collapsed and spread fine particles of super nanothermite all over Manhattan so that the stupid conspiracy nuts would blame their own government. Man, I'm telling you. They then stole the damn super thermite from our own military labs at Los Alamos and Lawrence Livermore, where it was developed. And the government still doesn't know the damn stuff's missing. Son of a... I'm not telling you all of this in here, of course. I'm trying to clean it up a little bit. I mean, damn it. These terrorists are good. We make the crap, and they steal it right out of the lab and use it on us without us knowing the crap's gone. Son of a... And if that ain't enough, yeah, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking these terrorists can't do stuff like that. Oh, yeah? Think again, sissy pants. These hijackers met at the third skyscraper after the Twin Towers fell down, and they put fire around column 79 and pushed it over, and the whole damn 47-story building came crashing down at free fall acceleration into its footprint at 5:20 p.m. that same day. Son of a... Just think about that for a moment. Son of a... I know what you're thinking. These terrorists are finished. They can't top that. Oh yeah? Some of these hijackers went back to their homelands all over the Middle East, and they are demanding that their names be taken off the Fed suspect list. son of a, really? They do all of that and they go home and threaten to sue the feds for naming them as suspects? I mean, son of a. So the next time you hear somebody complaining about unlawful taxes and undeclared wars and stuff, just remember how hard it is to stop terrorists like these. Son of a. Signed by a mad as hell. Here's a list of the most significant facts of 9/11/01, which I just covered. They ain't no B-757 parts found in Shanksville. County Governor, Somerville County, Somerset County, and the Mayor of Shanksville both confirm that. Not a damn thing. No B-57 parts found at the Pentagon. Exterior impact profile and interior damage pattern at Pentagon doesn't match B-757. Super nanothermite, both spent and unspent, found in all World Trade Center dust samples. 47-story World Trade Center 7 fell into its footprint at free fall acceleration in first 4 seconds of collapse. Tons and rivers of molten iron, a byproduct of nanothermite reactions, were found in all basements of all 3 collapsed skyscrapers. No proof of any Muslim boarding jets allegedly hijacked on 9/11/01. None. The previous list of 7 facts is sufficient to dismiss forever the Washington, D.C. mainstream media conspiracy theory about what happened on 9/11/01 and who did it. Since all these earth-shaking facts are well known in America today, we know there will be no evidence found and no movement big enough to force a federal investigation of the events of 9/11/01 because the feds are complicit in it. And it's a continuing conspiracy against the Muslim Middle East and the American liberty and property at home. The investigation is over. 7 earth-shaking facts and a network of conspirators have been discovered at the price of personal injury of the individual investigators. These facts resulted in no initiation of any government investigation. The investigation is over. 7 earth-shaking facts and a network of... Have I read that? What am I pushing this the wrong dang way? Okay. The investigator that really found out who did it, he fled the country. Cops went out there and beat him up in his yard. He called him. He actually called him. Christopher Olin was researching some of these people, snooping around, finding out things, asking them questions, calling them on the phone. He did his investigation actually by calling and investigating and looking into things. Well, they sent some FBI guys over there driving around his home. He saw it, he knew it, they were parked around there. He called the cops. Cops came out and beat him up in his yard. They sued him for resisting arrest, prosecuted him, found him guilty. He took his family and fled the country in waiting for the punishment phase of the hearing. Now the following slide shows the network that he's discovered. Christopher Olin, he's been here on this very stage, and in fact I actually typed this next slide. He stayed with me about 2.5 weeks while I was here earlier this year, and we worked on this material together. He's a great guy. He's really a peaceful soul. He's a really nice Christian man. This is the network that he exposed. Necessary control points for 9/11 false flag. All key positions are held by Zionist Jews. And I'll put by the way, folks, I'll put this slideshow on the internet at this same site where this video will be. And the video for this, the live video and the archive, is on the bottom. The URL address for it is at the bottom of your program sheet, so you can go there tonight even and watch it.
Is that the video in your pocket?
I'm sorry?
Is that the same video that you got in your pocket there?
No, I don't have the. No, it's not possible for me to have the video in my pocket I'm making. That would be good. I believe there are some Muslim terrorists that could actually do that.
911.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. But it will be online because it's live streams and archives immediately afterwards. So tonight you'll be able to see it when you go home. This is the natural conclusion of all this. Boleyn says solving 9/11 ends the war, and that's what he named his tour earlier this year. But he has since changed the name, and the next name he's going to use for his next tour is this. 9/11 Truth Movement begins the revolution. Why is that? Boleyn and I agree that there is no lawful union government in America today to investigate 9/11/01 tyranny attack. We don't have lawful government anymore over the states of the Union. That is dissolved. In order to investigate a criminal conspiracy of this magnitude and nature, you need a lawful government with fully operational and opposing branches of government. And we don't have that. A dissolved unlawful government complicit in the crime will never ever investigate themselves. Revolution versus pursuit of lawful government in absence thereof. This is what a revolution is. People many times use the term revolution improperly. A revolution is really the act of rebels overthrowing a lawful government. Revolution is an unlawful act against the people. Dissolution is caused by rebels within a lawful government. On the other hand, the pursuit of lawful government, seeking lawful government when there is none, is a God-given right. It is impossible for people to overthrow a dissolved government as it is already overthrown by the rebels within it. And that's a fact. We could not overthrow the federal government if we tried. Even if we took over it, we couldn't have overthrown it because it's already overthrown. We don't have a lawful federal government in the United States. It is gone. We have badges, we have uniforms, we have meetings, they have elections, and every bit of it is unlawful and dissolved. I am sure Boleyn means that 9/11 Truth Movement starts the pursuit of lawful government where there is none, due to dissolution caused by rebels within the dissolved government. Why the continuing 9/11 conspiracy will never be investigated. It is, as Boleyn says, and I agree, a continuing conspiracy. 9/11, folks, a lot of people say, I heard it in here earlier, and said, you know, that was 14 years ago, just let that go on. No, sir, folks. The 9/11 conspiracy is going on right now. It is a continuing conspiracy. And it did not stop at 9/11/01, but it has continued to this very day, and it is intended to go on as the cornerstone of the 21st century world domination by global bankers led by Zionist Jews. Now that's just, I know people say, well, Ron, that sounds anti-Semitic, or that sounds like you sound weird. But I'm sorry, when you look into all the facts, that's what you're going to uncover. That's what you're going to uncover when you look into the facts of the United States and who's running. Purpose and design of the ongoing 9/11/01 conspiracy. And I got all of this information from a book called From Containment of Global Leadership. From Containment to Global Leadership, Zalmay Khalilzad of the Rand Corporation, U.S. Air Force, and he was the ambassador to the defeated Afghanistan and Iraq. This is what he says. Well, he didn't say this one. I put this one in there. But we know what that was about. As an architect who's researched this, the Twin Towers was a failed project. It had asbestos all over it. It was half empty. It couldn't pay for itself. It was condemned. It had been threatened to be condemned several times. They were going to condemn it again unless they got rid of all that asbestos. They figured it was going to take over $1 billion to remove the asbestos. So that was one of the main ideas behind 9/11. This is what you call value engineering. What you're going to see here is where groups get together. Each one of them have a need and a problem. So they bring these different people together and they figure out how they can use your problem to their advantage. Pretty, isn't it? It's called value engineering. Architects do this all the time. Create foundation for a new grand strategy. He did say that. To assure America's superiority in the world. To enter the Middle East militarily to protect Israel. He said that too. Enter the Middle East militarily to control the oil supply. He said that. Protect and continue U.S. fraudulent paper currency as the world's oil purchasing currency. That's kind of the same thing. Establish an American police state to protect the dissolved and lawful federal government from the enslaved people of America. He said something like that. I tweaked it to say what he was really getting at. But he mentioned that this thing was getting out of control here at home, and we needed to beef up the police and law enforcement. That's what that's about. It's getting hot. Why? Because people are getting fed up with this crap. 9/11/01 conspiracy continues. Anything done in the pursuit of the original design and purpose of the 9/11/01 terrorist conspiracy by anyone reactivates all the crimes done and reconnects and makes all the players singularly and jointly liable for all the damage done in pursuit of said purpose. That's the actual definition of a conspiracy. There are conspiracy trials throughout America every day of the week. This is some of the material they use in court. The conspirators will never investigate themselves. Duh, what were we thinking? I mean, it didn't take us long to figure out who really did it. They wouldn't, they won't investigate it. Are we going to keep asking the guilty to investigate themselves? Is that going to work? 14 years later, we've been raising hell and showing them all this information and filing complaints, and they don't care. They ain't going to do that. Now for the good news. Here comes the good news. The State of the Union is dissolved. There ain't no union. There ain't no union constitution. They have dissolved it, and we're going to find out how. How the union is dissolved. Any constitutional state or union is dissolved at the moment that it alters its constitutional form by law without the required permission of the people by amendment. If this statement right here was not true, Satan would have perfected tyranny on earth. Because all you'd have to do to enslave people forever is to get them to sign on to a constitutional government. From then on, everybody in the government can violate it any way they want to, and every way they want to. They have their courts. You have to complain to their courts, and they find you wrong every time. This is how it's done. Every complaint that people complain of, unlawful federal taxes, unlawful this, when they take it to courts, they get thrown out. They get thrown out of court on all kinds of bogus rules of judicial precedent. What happens? It just keeps on going. That's unlawful, folks. What happens is they dissolved it. And you know what? At this point, we don't have to take anything to them because they're not lawful anyway. Why would we want them to have a court hearing when they don't have authority to rule on the damn matter anyway? They're dissolved. To hell with them. Partial list of constitutional provisions altered by law without amendments. I'm not just pulling your leg. Here's the list. You only need one. That's what it says down there. And that's a fact. It only takes one alteration without an amendment. All federal gun laws violate the Second Amendment, flat out. No deal. Okay, that's it. We could stop right there. It just keeps going. Creation of Federal Reserve Bank to print paper money violates Article 1, Section 10, 10th Amendment. All currency laws permitting use of paper debt notes as currency instead of gold and silver coin violates Article 1, Section 10. Patriot Act in violation of the 4th and 5th Amendment. Direct federal taxes on wages of individuals in several states without apportionment violates Article 1, Section 2 and 9. The present war commenced by public law without declaration of war violates Article 1, Section 8. Bank bailouts violate the 10th Amendment. Membership in the United Nations, a government, and another government violates the 10th Amendment. We didn't give them permission to do that. That's a lawmaking body. They have a judiciary. They have an executive. We didn't authorize that crap. Our government has no business messing around with that thing. There are multitudes of mere violations of the Constitution, but they are not unto dissolution, and may be cured by operation of the courts and branches of government of a lawful state. Well, we don't have a lawful state anymore, so we don't have to worry about that. However, any alteration of any constitutional provision by law without the required amendment does dissolve the government. And if you think I'm making this trash up, I got this from John Locke, Second Treatise of Government. You ought to read that for yourself sometime. Thomas Jefferson said, everything America is built on in terms of human liberty came from the two authors, Algernon Sidney in his Discourses of Government, and John Locke in his Second Treatise of Government. And it's mainly John Locke. All these principles are found, and he's the basis of our original country and state. Great breach of trust also dissolves a government. That's the last chapter of John Locke. Dissolution of Government's the title of it. He mentions breach of trust. An obvious conspiracy the size of 9/11/01 against the people, killing them and destroying their property, and preventing any government investigation of it dissolves the government. That's why 9/11 truth is the beginning of the pursuit of lawful government. Effective dissolution removes all authority of every office and department and employee and agent and contractor of the dissolved government. Flat out, they got nothing. Dissolution cannot be cured by any act of the dissolved government. A dissolved government loses its authority to act in any capacity, including to correct itself or reauthorize itself. It also frees all citizens from any moral or legal duty to conform to any provision of the Constitution or any law ever made by the dissolved government.
That's what I'm saying.
Dissolution frees the citizens to make new lawful government for the protection of their property, consisting of their life, liberty, and possessions. The people may morally and lawfully resist any force used by the dissolved government with force if necessary. Once again, this is not me talking. This is the founder of America. The ones that founded America was based on this. John Locke's Second Treatise of Government, last chapter, Dissolution of Government. Solution is limited. We don't have a whole bunch of solutions to this, folks. And you're going to see this. There's not a lot of them, because dissolution alters what you can do with it. Lawful government cannot be made by electing new people to sit in dissolved office. Did we hear some humor on that earlier tonight? Electing people to this crap, we can forget it. A dissolved court cannot lawfully rule on any matter brought before it, finding anything, much less its own authority. A dissolved legislature cannot lawfully pass or repeal any law, much less one reauthorizing itself. A dissolved executive branch cannot lawfully investigate or enforce any law or issue any executive order reauthorizing itself. In the absence of lawful government, a new lawful government may be formed by the people for the protection of their property, consisting of life, liberty, and possessions. What now? Well, what do you do in those conditions? Create a lawful government. Rings my bell. Declare the observation of the dissolution of the United States of America. Let's just get right to it. It's just time to hell. That's enough of that crap. Draft and ratify a new constitution for the Union of the American Sovereign States. What does Declaration of Observation of Dissolution do? It declares the present reality of the dissolved condition of the old Union under the old Constitution. It declares the undeniable, irrefutable, compelling evidence why the old Union is dissolved. Declares the effect of the dissolution and the rights of the people to form new lawful government for their protection. Seeks the support of the rest of the world to not assist the dissolved government in the oppression of the people in their God-given right to pursue lawful government. Establishes irrefutable reason why there can be no loyal states that remain in the dissolved Union. We can't have a North and a South on this deal. There ain't no North and South here. We have a dissolved Union. And there's not one damn state in it that can stay in it because it ain't there. All states need to get together if they want lawful, if they want to have a union to defend themselves in a group. This is the only way to do it. Proves the innocence of the people and the culpability of the tyrants and rebels in government in its overthrow and dissolution. We are not the bad people for wanting lawful government. We're not overthrowing lawful government. No, the tyrants in Washington have overthrown our government, and we're the victims of it. And we have a God-given right to make a new one under these conditions. Declaration of Dissolution does not do some things. It does not dissolve the dissolved Union, but merely declares the observation of it. So we're not even saying, it ain't us dissolving it. Hell, it's too late for us to do. You did that. Establish a new government, but rather it doesn't establish a new government, but rather declares the right to form a new one without threat or harm from dissolved government. Draft and ratify a new Union Constitution. No one in the dissolved federal government can participate in the making of a reconstitution. They're out. You know, you've heard of all this stuff saying, hey, we need a constitutional convention. You hear that? Really? You're going to let these maniacs that have already trashed your country, you're going to let those morons play in your camp? No, this gets rid of that. Those guys are flat out. In fact, those guys probably ought to leave the country.
There's no country for them to go to.
What's that?
There's no country for them to go to.
Well, that'd be good too. They could get out there on that raft, and float around.
Tall tree and a short road.
Okay. Reconstitution sets forth the principles of property that all lawful governments are based upon. Reconstitution also sets the penalty for violation of said principle. Here are the 10 main principles of property. The citizens are sovereign over the government they create for their own benefit by their delegated authority, limited to the protection of property, not by the transfer of their properties to the state. Did you know that none of us in this room own any property whatsoever? The state of Texas owns everything you got. They have sovereign immunity to harm you without judicial recourse, unless they waive it. As if they had that right. That's horse hockey. They never had such a right, and it's not in their Constitution. And you have to pay property tax. That is nothing but rent. Pure and simple. Well, you know what? Under new laws, this would have to be purged out of the states. You can't have a state owning your property. God gave us the property. We have life, liberty, and possessions to sustain our life and liberty. And that means we own our property. We don't pay rent to the state. That's feudalism, folks. There's only 2 reasons that we came to America and formed it. For religious liberty and to get out from under feudalism, paying the lord and the kings to be in our own homes, our own property. And what are we doing? We're living under feudalism again. It's like a king. Now, instead of a king, it's even worse than having a king, because we have a giant bureaucracy with the power and authority of the king. Hell, we're worse off almost. This is crazy. The sole purpose of the government is the protection of property, life, liberty, and possessions of the citizen. That's their only duty. They're not here to make the life wonderful, better life, and a prettier place, and save the planet, and make the sun come up at the right time, and make it rain at the right time, keep the vegetable. No, that's all bullshit. It's here to protect your property, to protect you, your life, your liberty, and your possessions. That's its purpose. Only one. People leave the state of nature to join societies to secure their properties, not to knowingly or unknowingly sacrifice their property for the betterment of the whole society or the world. No person ought to, nor has a right or authority to invade the harm or harm the property of another. This is the natural law of torts. There's only two natural laws. Don't hurt your neighbor and do what you say you're going to do, the law of contract. No person can delegate or give or confer upon another more authority than they have in themselves. That's the law, that's the natural law of delegated authority. It's been here for centuries. Therefore, no government can lawfully acquire a right, immunity, or prerogative to invade or harm the property of another without recourse in the courts. So that means sovereign immunity for governments is not possible. And we have it. The federal government has sovereign immunity to harm the people, and so does the state of Texas. Further, this is why no governments may lawfully make war, but only declare a war already in existence by proving injury without cause. A perversion of justice and the cheating of a person in the courts results in the continuation of a state of war with the injured party, and if conducted against a class of citizens or all citizens with regard to the law of the land, the result is complete dissolution of the union and the state. And that's why the 9/11 Tyranny Attack is a dissolution. All law is the collective individual right of each person to defend their lives, liberties, and possessions with force. That's what the law of the land is. It's based on your right to protect your life, your liberty, and your possession. And you delegate to the state to do that. And nothing else. The reconstitution of a new union government must reflect these fundamental principles and should strengthen them when amended. All political issues can be lawfully, legally, and morally determined by the application of these founding principles, now abandoned in favor of false global economic propaganda. Thousands of groups are wanting lawful government on one or two issues should unite together and fix it all at one time. Here's some of it. Now, there's a whole bunch of stuff that flows into each one of these. I'm not going to cover each one of them. These are general headings. I bet all of you in your email program at home have thousands of emails from all these people who want you to give them $10 so they can fix something. Everything from the dog has gone astray to the border problem to, I mean, you just name it. There's thousands of them. I don't even have time to read all that crap. Reform movements, restoration movements, take back the government movement, amendment movements, election movements, abolition movements, bowel movement, that'd be good. That's what I'm getting just reading this. Education movements, repeal movements, defund. Oh, don't you love that one? You are going to defund the federal government? There's been some people try that. They died in prison. Litigation movements. Oh, that's really working. I want some more of that. Give your money to that bunch. Succession movements. Talk about weird. You can't succeed. You can't secede from a dissolved government. You can't dissolve a dead wife. You cannot divorce a dead wife. And you cannot secede from a union that ain't there. And if you do, it's suicide. Because you admit in the very act of secession that they're lawfully existing. You gave them authority to come kick your ass. We don't want to give anybody authority to come kicking our ass. Libertarian economic movements. Oh, this is a good one too. As if free markets protect themselves under tyranny. How's that working for you? Free markets don't exist under dissolved tyrannous governments. And they don't come about under tyrannous governments. Anarchist movements. Absence of government cannot prevent unlawful government. You can't all get together and decide to not have a government and do one damn thing. None of these have success. None of them are working. 9/11 truth is the beginning of the pursuit of lawful government, which is our God-given right. Some people call that revolution, but I think I've cleared it up what it really is. There will never be any justice or investigation of any crime against the people or perversion of law until we obtain lawful government. We don't have it. So, that concludes my presentation. Join the pursuit today.